Welcome to George Bush Library and Museum. Pero this is somewhere else, Miss Crispy. This is not
College Station, Texas.
Welcome to College Station, Texas. And this is not the other Bush Library. This is the one for President George Herbert Walker Bush. So it's the father. And we're here in College Station, Texas, continuing on with our series of presidential libraries. Join us. All right, so as you come in right there, this is what you're going to find as you enter. President's Cabinet, President's Circle, this beautiful carpet here. President Bush with his family when he was a baseball player at Yale. This is where we, kind of similar to the ones that we've seen at other presidential libraries. So this is where you come in, and got my passport, so I'm gonna get it stamped. And as you come in, first thing is that the restroom is over there. That's the only one, so be sure to be there when you come in. All right, so as the first thing you come in, when you come in, is you see the presidential limousine. It's changed a lot since President Bush compared to the new one, what's called the Beast. So to Lincoln, beautiful limousine. There's Miss Crispy, and over here on this side you're going to see a portrait of Mrs. Barbara Bush and President George Herbert Walker Bush. So here we are. All right, so the first part is family traditions. So here we see Mr. President Bush's family. Here is a sculpture of Prescott Bush, which is the father of President George H.W. Bush, grandfather of President George W. Bush. And here we have some family pictures of the Bush family, as you can see. Okay, so this is a family portrait of the Bushes, and as we continue on here, it has the young life of President Bush. He was a baseball player, and I don't know if they have the picture here, but he actually met Babe Ruth, so maybe you'll find it. And here's the Pierce family, which is Mrs. Bush's family. So Pierce family. Here's Mrs. Bush, a young Barbara Pierce. It's 1943. Mrs. Bush again. And Duty, Honor, and Country. I don't know if you know, but President Bush was a war hero in World War II. Like I was mentioning to you, he was a war hero and his plane got shot down. So this is a replica of the plane President Bush was flying during his mission in World War II. Pretty impressive. I don't know if this is a Mustang. I don't know what kind of plane this is, so let's see if we can find out. All right, so here we have a uniform similar to one that Mr. Bush had when he started flying when he was 18 years old. And here is a little bit more of the information about when he was serving during World War II in the USS San Jacinto. So, well, that's Mrs. Bush, the girl back home, and that's when his plane fell. So Mr. Bush served his country during the war. So there's another shot of the airplane, and there's Miss Crispy down there. So pretty cool stuff here. Let's continue on. Here's another exhibit. of the
On December
USS
7,
San Jacinto,
1941, Japan
where
launched its
President Bush
first attack
served.
on Pearl Harbor. In 2
Okay.
hours, the U.S. Navy lost 15 ships.
So this exhibit is the dress worn by Mrs. Bush on her wedding day with President Bush. Some pictures of them. Miss Pierce is wed to Lieutenant George H. Bush. Sunday, January 7th. So, there it is, Mrs. Bush's wedding dress. So after President Bush comes back from war, he goes to Yale University, and he was a baseball player. And like I had told you, here it is, Babe Ruth, George Bush. So the great Bambino. And here's Mrs. Bush, and that is his glove. And the first son, George Walker Bush. Right, so when he became a congressman,
George accepted Mallon's offer to be an equipment clerk for Idaho.
a little bit more of his rise here in Texas. So in the oil business, from the ground up. Viva Zapata. More of his exhibit. This is pretty cool. The Washington Capitol. And here are the Bushes. So Mrs. Bush, President Bush, the other President Bush, Jeb Bush. I don't know the other ones. Neil Bush, I think one of his name is. Okay, so after the China exhibit, we have this beautiful exhibit of the White House, but here he was the head of the CIA, another of President Bush's previous job, head of the CIA. So it's in this job and at the UN I saw firsthand clearly the need for an intelligence capability second to none. So there's President Bush, the head of the CIA. So here's an exhibit. I think you can put your hand here, I think. Oh. Okay, that's weird. So, sorry, I didn't do anything. Central Intelligence Agency. So, President Bush, another of his jobs, CIA director. Alright, so this is pretty cool. Place hand on scanner below. So, place your hand on it.
But also with the camera, so you can see the hand.
Okay, put your hand in there.
One hand. And now the camera over here.
And then it's scanning.
There's my finger.
There's Miss Crispy's hand.
Fingertips.
Now they're gonna locate.
Oh.
Identity confirmed.
And I got
Searching for satellite, which would be this one. And where is Miss Crispy? Somewhere North America.
They're gonna know my
Location.
location.
College Station. Targeting Bush Library. And there we are. That's
Hello,
me and that's
guys.
Miss Crispy. So I got a feeling somebody's watching me. Alright guys, so this is the replica of the Oval Office for President George Herbert Walker Bush. And here are some of the pictures he had when he was president. Now if you notice from the other videos that we have, every president has its own style with the curtains, decorations. Now this one is not as big as the other one, so you can see right here that it's only half the Oval Office. Here's some of his decorations he had. And of all the presidential libraries, this is the one of the ones that you can actually take a picture here. And the last one you can take a picture is that we need to visit will be the Nixon one. So we already took pictures. The one in Little Rock, the one in Dallas, the one here in College Station. Tomorrow when we see The LBJ one, you can't take a picture there. I mean, yeah, you can't go into the old office. All right, so as we continue, guys, this is a replica of what you would see at Camp David, President Bush's office. Anybody remember those computers? So this is Camp David. So a lot of meetings would have taken place here, and some R&R pictures of President Bush, his daughter getting married.
But look at the
Camp David, Shangri-La.
the simplicity of the dress.
Yeah, there's President
And
Bush.
he's the richest man in.
Well, depends, right? So, beautiful exhibit here of Camp David. Now, moving on from Camp David, this is from the Berlin Wall. Now, if you ever go to the Reagan Presidential Library, there's one that you can also see there, right in front of the Presidential Library. So this one is here at the Bush Library of the Berlin Wall, piece of the Berlin Wall. Now, if you remember, President Bush was president during the first Gulf War. So, situation assessment, I guess this would be the cabinet room. Now, if you remember, oh, this is actually the situation room. Now, if you remember from the Clinton Library, there was something similar, but obviously the furniture was different. Here's where you would have President Bush with his cabinet and his advisors. And it takes us to the Gulf War exhibit over here. Now, this is a very nice little exhibit. 1,000 points of light. Any definition of a successful life must include serving others. President Bush. And I think if you're a teacher, I think that's one of the things that I enjoy, that you get to serve others. This exhibit is with Mrs. Bush. There's a portrait of Mrs. Bush. I think this is her funeral. Barbara Bush Foundation for Family Literacy. Some of the books. You can see this one. And there's Mrs. Bush with one of her granddaughters on board Air Force One. Here's Mrs. Bush again during Christmas. I like this picture. Mrs. Bush, President Bush. All right, so we stopped here to see Sully Bush, President Bush's dog. And here's some images of Sully when he was a puppy, and with President Clinton and President Bush. And when President Bush passed away, there was his dog. So Sully's still alive from what I understand, and they made a statue of him here. So this is the end, guys. This is in remembrance of George Herbert Walker Bush. The end of his life here, and we're gonna go see his tomb in just a bit, which is I think outside over there. We'll check it out in just a bit. All right, so as we leave, here are some souvenirs. There's a souvenir shop where see what we can muster up to take. So it's here's some baseball caps. These are nice. George H.W. Bush, and some cups. Very nice souvenir shop. Normally we take magnets home, so maybe we can take a t-shirt or something. It's crispy. Here's some more souvenirs. Trying to see, maybe get a baseball cap or t-shirt or something. So now, if you remember, we took some magnets from the other libraries. Maybe we can buy some here. Some of that. I like this one. So, ooh, this one's nice. Air Force One. Oh, here they are. Here are the magnets. Let's see which one we're gonna take. Okay, so we're in the back of the library, and we're going to pay our respects to President Bush and Mrs. Bush by visiting their tomb. We're heading that way. Even though it's nice and cloudy, it's Texas weather, y'all. It's hot. So let's go. Right, so we're heading towards the gravesite of,
Look at the plate.
yeah, President Bush and Mrs. Bush.
Oh, the bridge.
Nice little bridge here.
You can listen to the cicada.
The cicadas. Okay, just a little bit of a walk, and here we are. The gravesite, President Bush, Mrs. Bush. Yeah. All right, you're here. George Bush, Barbara Bush, and their daughter that died in infancy. Here to pay our respects to President Bush and Mrs. Bush. So whenever you come, it's a little bit of a walk, maybe 5 minutes from the library. And it's over here, this nice little area, the tomb of President Bush. All right, guys, I almost forgot the goodbye, the outro, I guess, the intro, outro, whatever, because it's 104, very hot, and we just wanted to get to the car and get some water. So, Miss Crispy, what did you think of the library?
Very nice. I liked it more. Like you said, it's better than the one in Dallas. But it's very out far.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to come, it's in College Station, which is about an hour and a half from Austin. Some back roads and stuff. So I would recommend to make plans. It is a very nice museum. Obviously, President Bush the first, had an extraordinary life, did a lot of things. You're going to enjoy it. A lot of things you can come and enjoy. There is no restaurant, so be prepared for that. And right now we're going to head out to College Station, see what we can find to eat. And then we're heading off to our next destination. So until we meet again, happy trails to you. Bye.